Now, I ain't going to beat around the bush on this reaction video that we about to get into about what Ian Dunlap, actually it was Rashad Bilal who had these comments about EYL not being about black people, was never a black thing. I want to get some context to it because the snippets I've been going around, that's been going around the internet, has just been really bad publicity, and we're going to get into what I'm talking about here. They've been on a tangent lately. I don't know what switch got flipped, but the public relations individual for Earn Your Leisure, they need to get on this. Real talk, they need to get on this because it's looking real bad. Just thing after thing after thing after thing. And I want to let you know, or I want to know what you think about the current press cycle for Earn Your Leisure.
All jokes aside, how wonderful is it that we're known for this? I was here in 2007. The thought was, how can somebody be the new BMF in 2008, 2009, 2010? There wasn't a conversation around investing because when I was having it, nobody knew what indexing was.
He ain't never lied. He ain't never lied. Now, on this part right here, I'm rocking with Ian. One of the things that got me to gravitate to this kind of content early on, and I started doing this stuff around, circulating around my crypto. I didn't know anything about it in indexing or even futures, anything like that. I've heard it way back in the day, what about G options, and I knew about Forex, but there wasn't any conversation, particularly within the community, about indexing. Nobody knew nothing about owning stock or anything like that. Not really. You had people who were playing around with it who were in the know. Some people were in the know, but there wasn't no platform to really lock in on this. This was a community builder, and that you can't take that away from these individuals because they started the conversation. They started the conversation, and 1.65 million subscribers later, they doing their thing. And again, can't take anything from them, but the comments that they're about to get into right now is what's going on. And I wanted to give some full context to what they were saying, what Rashad was saying, and he's about to start speaking now, that rubbed people the wrong way.
So all jokes aside, it's some of the things that we're even known for this.
Some of the dumbest things I've seen online even before the event, somebody was like, we have events like this every single week in Atlanta. You're an idiot for saying that. You never. There's no event in the world like that.
Now, right here, this is a little bit of self-aggrandizement because there is no event quite like Investfest. There are many events catered towards African American involvement in both investing, getting some finances, tech events. Matter of fact, there were 4 of them that weekend that Investfest was going on. There were multiple of them, multiple different venues, pop-ups, but nothing on a scale. So I think in this part, what Rashad is saying, he's absolutely correct. There's nothing like it. But this way it gets in trouble.
Like I said, this is coming from people that actually are qualified to speak. Somebody like Mike Novogratz, somebody like John Morgan, somebody like Lewis Carr, who's seeing the event, who's seeing 30,000 people, let alone 30,000. But I'm not even on the black thing no more. I never was on the black thing. Not a black event. Because I seen somebody else that said that, like, it was white people. Yeah, they're qualified to be there. Like, what do you mean? Like, you think I'm gonna cater just to black people just to get torn down by black people? You out of your fucking mind. It's gonna...
Yo. Yeah. See, this is where you got in trouble. This is how you self-sabotage your brand because it's not the full context of what he's saying. And if you get the full context of what he's saying, he's not trying to cater to just black people. But for you to say this ain't a black event when you are the premier resource, at least on these internet streets, of getting that financial aid, you made your name based on the need that was you recognized. You recognized this. It was your content that got me out of my crypto space and strictly crypto to see this whole great big world of investing. And it was not for stuffy shirts. You guys actually packaged this thing to reach out to the masses that needed it. Now, of course, it has transformed into something else. And we're going to get into that transformation. But this kind of comment right here is a brand killer. You just disassociated or just gave a core membership of your audience, your core members, you just gave them something to think about. And I'm going to let this thing play a little bit because there is context of what he's saying.
There'll be even more white people next year, and Spanish and the Filipinos, of course. Like, I'm done. It's been real. Yeah. Well, yeah, for what? The only thing you're going to do is criticize it and tear it down and not pay and want to get it for free anyway.
Rashad, if black people built this, we can't stand up backs on black people.
No, I'm never. But I'm saying it's all inclusive.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And so I just want people to understand that right now. Don't ever think that it's not an all-inclusive thing. But it was always all-inclusive from the beginning. People have put labels on you that you yourself didn't put on yourself.
Oh,
you never called it the Black Investment Conference.
Yeah. But they try to do that to me. Even with me, they're like, "Oh, you think you're the best black investor?" I'm like, "No, I think I'm the best." Period.
Exactly.
So there you have it. The context we're talking about. Now, that was a quick, nice pivot, but that's not the message that's going to get replayed. That's not the message that's getting repaid, that this is an all-inclusive, event. What he's talking about is the fact that investing is investing. I don't care what color your skin is. The only color they really worried about is that green, right? But it's who you're saying it to. Like I said, they got 1.65 million subscribers. And I don't know how aggressive they are about using content, but even in these reaction videos like this one, we're talking about your core demographic. And you just made a statement that said this was never about y'all. At least not exclusively about y'all. This is not about black people. Although, if black people happen to gain some information and some knowledge about this, that's all what we are trying to accomplish, in addition to bringing on what's going on in the investing world. Because again, it's really not about any other color than that green. Now, real talk, I just associated these comments with Earn Your Leisure because that's where I know them from, right? But the crazy part about that whole segment is making that distinction that this was not ever about, he was never about just servicing black people. This ain't a black event as far as the Investfest was concerned. You said that on a podcast called Ian and Rashad Blackout. It says it right on your screen, bruh. What you mean? And that's crazy work. I understand what he was trying to get at, that this is all inclusive. But you gotta be careful. I mean, and they know what this means. You know how our community, like you said, they're gonna criticize you for anything. And this is a criticism. Right here, this is a criticism. We criticizing what you said and how you said it and who you said it to. Despite the accolades, because honestly, this conversation wasn't even cool before y'all brothers did it. I'm just keep it a bean. And at 56, that's me, that's my age, my big age. I was so happy to see younger men getting it together and then wanting to share that information. But this is only the beginning of the negative press that they've been getting recently. And let's talk about that.
Earn Your Leisure was here on the show talking about the way that Atlanta, shifting the gears, talking about the way that Atlanta does not help out with the Investfest. Let's take a listen to the clip and then we'll give you guys an update.
Do you just keep it in Atlanta, kind of like how Essence just keeps it in New Orleans? Like, is it just one thing that it always stays there, or do you say, you know what, we take it to another city?
Its home has been Atlanta for obviously for the 6 years. We flirted with the idea just because the lack of support that we've gotten from the city of Atlanta has been something that has been puzzling. But we come from grassroots, so we know how to build things from the ground up.
What is Atlanta not doing to make sure they're comfortable?
Atlanta's done nothing for us, and it's an unfortunate situation, but it's one of these things. I think a lot of times when you're a black entrepreneur, a lot of things are just expected, like, oh, you got it, like, you good, or you know, and it's like if somebody else would come, like a Forbes or somebody like that, then they would roll out the red carpet, do everything. But this is good education, because it's like when you work with a city, there's a budget, and there's different things that they can do.
Subsidies, municipalities.
So they can help.
Now, Mayor Andre Dickens of Atlanta had a response to the previous clip when it came to the Candy Burris, I think it's Speak On It podcast. Check her out. And he had a response to that criticism. And let's go ahead and give that a listen.
Earn Leisure, which, you know, they're a popular podcast, talk about money. I like to watch it. They talked about recently not feeling supported by the city because they do their big Investfest here. How do you feel about that? Did you hear about that?
Yeah, I heard about it. And one, I mean, I like what they talk about on their podcast. I follow them. I watch their show or their podcast. Sometimes it hits a note that I'm like, that's a good point. That's something I agree with. That's things that we need to be talking more about. So I respect them. I respect all our creatives that are doing, great work. And Earn Your Leisure is definitely trying to put people up on how to invest and have a future that really embarks upon, multi-generational wealth. So kudos to them, support them. Now they went on the Breakfast Club, which is in New York.
Yes.
And they talked to Charlemagne and DJ Envy and them, and they mentioned Atlanta. Now that don't sound right to me. You going up there to talk about Atlanta, like the hey, you could have did that on V103 or 107 point. You could have did that anywhere. You could have called me. I am the easiest mayor to find.
You are.
I am like
so
everywhere.
They had never talked to you about it before.
My number, I got the same number for 25 years. I'm a mayor that keeps the same phone number as I had when I ran a furniture business.
Rashad's criticism earlier was, people show up to this event expecting to hook up, free things from Earn Your Leisure or from Investfest without even wanting to pay full price. Get out of here, the criticism, right? Well, it seems like you got to New York and left a similar type of criticism to the whole city or the city management of Atlanta. It seems like you're asking for the hookup, more assistance when it comes to billboards and promotion and that kind of deal. But again, criticisms come from both sides, right? So I think you're guilty of the same thing you were criticizing the patrons of the event in that one segment. And you're now casting those criticisms against the lack of cooperation that you received from the city of Atlanta, according to you. Now, again, this is like your 6th year for this event to be had here. And there's a reason for that. This is your core demographic. This is a central hub with the Hartsfield-Jackson Airport. People can get here relatively cheap as compared to flying into any other city from everywhere. Hotel venues, just venues, period. Having this at the World Congress Center or many of the other attractions. It's just where you want to be, particularly with the core demographic that you are catering to, that core upwardly mobile and Black demographic. It exists here. So while the criticism of the support you may have not received from Atlanta, there's also, hey, who did you ask? Who did you ask? It's kind of wild, because we're also talking about that while another topic came up, another bad press move is the association with the singles event that happened at this Investfest. Let's talk about how one thing does not make sense. It doesn't go together. Now, I don't know what kind of brand deal or what kind of partnership they had with with their Kendra G show that was there. And this is where this new criticism is coming from, that this became more of less of Investfest, but more of a Freaknik of a sort, where you have individuals coming down there with the sole purpose of not gaining access to business knowledge, but gaining access to businessmen, and it was marketed as such. This is the antithesis, the absolute opposite of building generational wealth. You got women talking about how much they're going to spend on you and don't show the money unless you trying to spend it. And the response from the panel member was, hey, don't show that tail, because there was a lot of scantily clad females down there. Don't show that tail unless you ain't trying to give it up. That was his response to the money issue. What has any of that have to do with investing? And again, this is not a reflection on EYL, because, hey, that show is its own show. They just happen to purchase a venue within the Investfest event where it was specifically designed to attract people to come on down and get to know these business professionals. The two things don't seem to go together. And I think in that allegiance and that alignment, that you are at risk, again, giving this a whole different look. You got something else to think about. I, for one, saw that before the event came. I had attended it maybe once, actually twice in the past as I'm building my own business. But after a certain year, it just became more of a fashion show, or celebrity event, where you're literally paying cash. I did a video on it, and I don't know what the return is on my investment. And if you say always just be around people who are successful, now I'm not getting any, return on osmosis, on getting to know people on that, unless this is a direct correlation to some funding, which it never turned out to be, because honestly, it's more of an event to get money out of your pocket to buy into someone else's plan. This is not something for an individual who is looking to have money invested in them. Not unless you are promoting, hey, bring your business plan. Don't bring your fur coat. Don't bring, your best 304 outfit in the hopes of looping or getting with somebody who is on that path. I mean, this is just not the venue for it, at least in my opinion. Let me know what you think about all of this. And is this going to be the type of thing that puts a bad taste in the mouth of this very popular podcast? Like I said, one of the reasons I got into this topic is because I learned a lot, and you cannot take anything away from them. But I think this is just a storm that's going to pass for those individuals. I wish them the best, and let me know what you think in the comment section. I'll talk to you later.